All right, doctors and practitioners, we're going to get started. And I hope people aren't too late because we're going to go over so much material tonight. If you lose a little bit in the beginning, then you're going to be a little bit lost there. So let's start off right here in the very beginning. And we're going to talk about tonight what I have learned in my 45 years of practice. Most of you know I did over $1 million a year, many, many years in a row. I think at least 10 in a row. I'll have to go back and check down to see exactly. But I never had the type of things I have now where I know I could double, I could quadruple what I've done. I left so much sitting on the table and so many patients I could help at a greater level with some new things that we're going to talk about. Now, many of the doctors out there are in survival mode. We want to take you from survival to thrival. And the most important thing you can do to thrive is to have patient education, to look at reporting systems yourself so you know exactly what you're doing and why you're doing it. There are many, many new businesses that start every year, and the statistics have not changed. If anything, they're worse because of the kind the economy has gone. But basically, in 5 years, 80% of the new businesses fail. And that has to do with new doctors, new practitioners of all kinds. Well, there's no reason for that, because the ones that don't fail, the ones that go from survive to thrive, have a system that they follow 100%. And the example you can always use is Disneyland. They have such an incredible system. They always thrive. McDonald's grows. They sell horrible food. I'm sorry, but it's not even food. It's non-food. Yet they continue to go and grow because they have such an incredible system. So what if we had the best physical treatment we could possibly give people, the best nutritional that exists in the world, and we had a system that matched it? Now is what we're talking about. There's no way you could double however much nutrition you're doing right now. We're going to show you a lot of different offices that have different levels of nutritional sales, anywhere from $50,000 a year to $850,000 a year right now. So patient education is number one. Evaluating and having a good reporting system is number two. And number three, what I learned is that everything you do has to drive your economic engine. I don't care how valiant or white of a knight you are. If you do things that doesn't make money, you don't stay in the business. So you have to evaluate what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it, and make sure that you're profitable or you go under. It's that simple. So the key is educate, educate, educate. But if you educate, you have to make sure you know what it is you're trying to achieve. Education is so important for patients and for the doctor alone. So what we've done is put together a program here to where you can evaluate with the system what you're doing, know why you're doing it, follow up with it, make sure it's profitable. Are you generating enough revenue in your clinic to be financially independent now and in the future? I mean, like I said, I've been playing this game for 45 years. I'm 68 years old. I have twins that are 4. Can I retire today? Well, had I implemented some of the things that we're going to talk about here, I could retire a long time ago if I wanted to. I don't want to. We're having too much fun. But we're going to show you the system to teach you to thrive. Reporting is so important right now. We must be data-driven. And I've seen chiropractic offices and other health practitioners that really had a good system of evaluation and knowing exactly what's going on. But Robert C. Gay says we must be data-driven in our decision-making. How do we get the health data from the patients to determine how to help them? Hey, we do all kinds of things. We do muscle testing, we do blood work, we do hair analysis, we do physical exam, we do patient questionnaires, we do neurological exam. That's how we get the information to know what to do with the patient. Let's go to the next slide and see some ideas. What can we do with our business? It has to be exactly the same way. If you're not evaluating what you're doing on a daily basis, you're going backwards, not forwards. So a really cool thing is Richard Hill or Napoleon Hill said that knowledge is power. But we, in evaluating this, think it's kind of a false statement. Knowledge is potential power. It becomes power only when and if it's organized into definite plans of action and it's directed towards the end that you want it to go. So let's think about that and go forward. Here's something I want you to really lean into here. We've done a study of people that do the Brimhall protocol and offices that don't do the Brimhall protocol. And we just started OHS, in January. So in about 5 months, we saw brand new doctors to OHS did, if they were practicing the Brimhall protocol, $10,150 on average. Well, that's not bad for a new implementation of a new company, because they're still using other nutrition as well. Now, here's the interesting thing. On the doctors that do the Brimhall protocol and had an organized system we call Thrive, it's interesting, from survival to thrival, they more than doubled. They increased by 203% by evaluating their statistics, educating the patients, educating their office staff. All they had to do was implement a silly little system. A system that taught them and their patients what they were doing and why they were doing it. Do you have a problem with doubling your income in just a few months' time? The doctors that have joined both Brimhall Protocol and Thrive have done that already. We prove it right here. So let's look at another slide. Here's an interesting thing. Other offices out there that are not doing Brimhall Protocol, and they've been implemented in the same 5-6 months' time, they're only doing like $853 in that length of time rather than $10,000. Even those people, though, if they got a system of evaluation and treating and educating the patient as well as their office staff, they did 365% better. So it looks like we need to introduce the Brimhall protocol and the Thrive system in each of the offices and go from 10,000 to 20,000 to 40,000 a month. No problem. Let's go on and see how we're going to do it. Here's a doctor. He's an incredible doctor. He actually did $860,000 last year, 2014, in nutrition sales alone. So he decided to go ahead and do some online marketing as well. And you can see by the bottom line there, he just didn't do much with it. And then the second line, he actually joined up with a Thrive system, and he got a little spike here. But he said, okay, Clark, help me out. Help me to implement the Thrive system 100% to these potential patients and these patients. And you can see the arrow, how he shot straight up in the air by implementing the system along with the good products that he had. That's pretty impressive. This is one sharp guy. So let's look at another thing here. When we are increasing our sales, there's only two ways to do that. Either you sell more patients on the idea, or you sell more of the same patients, more nutrition. Well, both aren't bad if they need it. I don't want to sell something they don't need, but if you have a good system of evaluating a patient, you have no problem seeing they need very good specific nutrition and structural care, emotional de-stressing, the kind of things that we teach in the 6 Steps to Wellness. But let's look at a couple of things here. There's 3 different doctors right here, and we're just going to call them ID 10, ID 3, and ID green, blue, red, and green there. And this doctor number 10 activated 50 patients in the time that this was implemented. And this was using this was a year, was it not, Clark?
Yes, right.
1 year's time by doing the Thrive system, which is a system of educating the patient, they were able to reactivate 50 patients. So if that reactivated patient was only worth $1,000, and most of the time they're worth more like $2,000 to $2,500 has been the average that I have seen, but we took it way down. Just by implementing the Thrive system to educate these patients, they reactivated 50 patients. They made another $50,000 minimal by doing that. Now, doctor number 3 here, he reactivated 134 patients in a year. Now, the number down there from 10 below is 16, and below 3 is 2,800. That's how many patients they had on the books that they had treated in the past that were no longer coming in. So this doctor number 3, out of 2,800 past patients, he activated 134. He increased his income by $134,000. And here's a small office. He's just barely getting going. He only had 150 inactive patients. He activated 33 of 150. He increased his income $33,000. Now wait a minute here. Let me see if my math plays me right. Am I gone senile yet? Or what if this Thrive system cost me $1,000 a month? And I'm doctor number 10 up here in the blue. That means if it cost me $1,000 a month, that would be $12,000 in a year. It means I still made an extra $38,000 in this one section, just reactivation. Fortunately for you, it's not. It's only $250, and we're going to give you a special where it's only $150 for you guys that act immediately. We want to get you guys going on this for many reasons. 1, I want you getting your patients better. 2, I want to really push functional healthcare, my brand of 6 Steps to Wellness out there, because it takes your income from a little bit to a whole lot because you help more patients. Money is only a measurement of how many people you help. And this one thing, systems reactivation, you're going to increase anywhere from 50, 33, and 134,000, that alone, plus doubling your nutrition income. Cool, let's keep going, Clark. So let's go back to patient education. What does that mean? How do we educate the patients here? We have a few slides here for you. We can take a look at that. So Thrive, as soon as the patient calls in and sets a potential appointment, an email goes out or a text on the phone. If they have both, we do both. If they only have an email, then we send them email. If they only have text, we send them a text. And this goes out and says, you know, welcome to Brimhall Wellness Center. Your appointment's coming up. Boom, it tells all about the office. Next. I have to go kind of fast on this because this, at homecoming, January, the last week of January, put that on your schedule right now. We're going to go over this and have special classes and make sure all of you guys really own this and capitalize on what we're doing. Tonight, we're going to go over the basis. 1 week from tonight, exactly the same time, same station, we're going to take you to the next level of understanding. But we have edu-mails that go out to all these patients that have come in. We do office logo to start off with, video content, educating them on the nutrition that we have. It gives them specific links to the provider website saying what nutrition is available, what it does, and what's in it, and why it's there. Special promotions is sent out to them on these edu-mails. It says weekly, and that's exactly what we're talking about. Every week we're in contact with our patients, and we're educating them to what we do and what we have available. And of course, on the bottom, it says meet the doctor. On the far left, in the middle, it says a patient survey. So every time they come in, they can actually say, wow, this is an incredible visit, or I had to wait too long. Whatever they want to tell you, they can communicate to you through these edu-mails. And then refer a friend. When people coming in, they're getting better. We want them to have a can plan position, boom, to get them to send their friends in. All right, next slide. So the clinic logo is always going to be in the top. Whatever your logo is, we want a brand of it. Many of you that are Brimhall docs, we have the triangle, and it's well known universally around the world. The second thing is every month there's a health topic. So this particular month we're talking about women's health. So there's an article every week coming out by a practicing physician, or Doug will do it, and it talks about what's your risk for osteoporosis, what's your hormones doing to you. And then if the patient says, wow, that's really good, I want to know more, boom, they click read more right at the bottom there. And then right coming from Dr. Kramer's office is all this other information. So we whet their appetite where they can do it quickly. If they want to know more, it's right there. And this is all backed by science. Very, very exciting. Every week, and you guys are not getting these, let us know. Somehow your email is not getting it to you. Every week I send out a puzzle piece that's in written format. Every week Doug sends out a video, and in this particular time there's one about female plus B, there's one about the new OptiThyroid that was just released, so they can click on whichever one they want to listen to. But there's always a 3, 4, 5, 6 over on the other side where they can go back and listen to ones that they might have missed in the past. So it's really, really important. The other thing is we always have a place there where the patients can do testimonials and they can read the testimonials from somebody that got incredible results. Testimonials do work. Again, education, education, education. So since June was our health focus on women's health, and also we're educating them, they can just tap in and they can purchase this now, and you get complete credit for it as if it had been sitting right in your office, or you can have it if they ask for it and give it to them. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But every week we're educating them about their products and why we use them and how we use them. Now, like I said, we cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it. Galileo, pretty impressive. So how do they discover their own health? We're educating them through the edu-mails. We're educating them in our office. We're talking to them. We're doing muscle testing. We do all these different things. And then every time, every week when we're sending them out information, they have health articles they can click onto. Your brain may be affecting your mood. Chiropractic care, take control of your health. So every week they're getting these. You say, gosh, you're showing me 10 things they're getting every week. Now you got it. It's always in front of them, all from your office. And you're being branded now as a doctor who takes the time to educate his patients. So there's always a place there. For instance, Dr. Brett does chiropractic adjustments, he does fascial release, he does allergy testing, he does massage in his office, he does acupuncture testing. He does heart variability testing. So when they click on here, it talks about your office. What do you do? Maybe you just adjust and do nutrition. Whatever it is, that's what we're going to click on, and they're going to show that to you, taking it right to your website. And this is what we showed you on that footer a minute ago. We're just blowing it up so you can see it better. Meet the doctor. Here's Dr. Kramer, the handsome dog. And then they click on there, it tells all about him, takes you to his website. And here it goes. And they can talk about feedback as a gift. Talk to us. How likely are you to be to come back in here? He wants to know exactly. Knowing him, it's probably 10 almost all the time. Any comments they want to leave us. Every week, every visit, they have a chance of giving us feedback for how we're doing so we can monitor that. Refer a friend. I mean, I saw on average 50 to 70 new patients a month. They all came from referrals. I didn't have a system this slick, but this is so great. They can just fill in their patient's name, their email, and it gives us a chance to communicate with them, and so we can answer their questions. Very ingenious method here to stimulate those referrals. The neat thing is the EduMail in text form is used for two different things. To the patient, if they don't have an email, and there's certain doctors out there that don't have patients with a lot of emails, it's kind of interesting. And so we give them that same information. They can click right on their phone and go to it. That phone is also used to keep you guys on top of your stats every day. You know exactly how many patients you saw, what services they had. Everything is available at a glance, so you know how you're doing. So this is another good one. They click on there, just like it's their computer. Revenue generation, you can see here how we're generating revenue from every way that you can increase your practice. You're getting more new patients in. You're educating the new patients better. You're following up on your statistics. You're encouraging them to refer friends. You're educating them, educating them, educating them. And it doesn't take you and staff time. This is done automatically by the Thrive system. And as we talked about, we're reactivating inactive patients. Now, Doug and Clark actually went into this research and saw the study show 40% of your patients will come in and buy again if you nurture them properly over time. Hey, but that's exhausting for you to try to do it and your staff try to do it. So that's why we developed this system with Thrive, where it automatically educates them with these EduMails. So just to go back to what we showed you earlier, whether you're seeing 1,600 patients that are out there that are inactive, or you're only 150 patients inactive, you can increase your income by 50,000, 134,000, 33,000 by just implementing this silly little system called education and monitoring your stats. That what you keep track of grows. That's what you ignore goes away. Let me tell you how simple this concept is. Let's say you're married, and every day you get up and you go off to work, you don't even talk to your wife or kids. Well, you know, when you come home one day, they aren't going to be there. So if you're not paying attention to your wife and kids, meaning your patients, your dollar bills, you're not going to be communicating with them. But with the Thrive system, we're educating them every day, every week, what we have available for them. It's like hugging and kissing your wife twice before you go in the mornings. Great, Clark. Let's switch. Go ahead forward here. So patient education is important, and it helps to convert prospective patients. So we're going to go back here to talk. Go ahead.
We kind of lost our spot here, so let me get back to
How did that happen? These newfangled systems here are pretty scary. I'm an old PowerPoint guy, and those of you who've been around when I first started teaching, we had slides, flip charts. Dr. Murphy still uses the old slates he puts up there, but this is a new system here that works pretty well most of the time. Basically, these are two studies here, and both the studies say this: people buy nutrition. More and more people are consuming nutrition. Now, unfortunately, the older you get, the more you need, and it actually bears out in the study on the left. The study on the right says this: more than 70% of Americans take dietary supplements for different reasons. All right, let's go to the next page there. In keeping that in mind, if your patients are not buying from you, they're still buying. They're just not buying from you. So why would you do that? And why would you let them go to Walmart or Walgreens or even a health food store? That's not professional nutrients. Those are not quality that like we're talking about here. You're letting your patients die a premature death because you're not educating me, so I don't have time. That's the point. That's why we have Thrive for you. You don't have to take time. It's all done for you, and that's what I'm so excited about. Now let me show you a couple of offices, and these are all doctors who've now signed up for Thrive. They just barely got in there, most of them. But look at doctor number one on the top. This dude sees 516 patients a month, a 30-day. That's a lot of patients, man. This guy's shucking and jiving. He gets 59 new patients a month, so regular visits is 457. He's only doing $100,000 in nutrition. But now with Clark, we're talking about a different system that expands on the system we're talking about this week. He has set a goal for himself to go from $100,000 a month to $1 million by the end of the year. You say that's impossible. It's not impossible. It's not only probable, this guy's going to do it. He has such a machine of seeing the patients and adjusting them and educating them that he's making, let's say, $1 million a year in structural care, but only $100,000 nutrition, because he thought he had to do it himself. But he's doing the optimal Thrive system, and it is going to educate the patients for him and increase that nutrition. Very exciting concept. Let's do doctor number two. He sees 457 patient visits in a month's time, 31 new patients. He only did $50,000 last year. He's joined the optimal Thrive system. He's goaled himself $1 million. So Clark's really convinced these guys, look, if you follow the system, you can do it. They set these goals themselves. Here's another practitioner I know pretty well, and he does 387 patient visits last month, 36 new ones. He re-engaged 80 patients from the Thrive system, so he did 271 regular visits along with the 80 re-engaged visits and the 36 new. He averages about 300,000 patients in $300,000 in a year. These are all yearly figures. He has goaled himself $1 million because he's going to let the work be done by the system so he and his office staff don't have to do it. Now here's an incredible guy. Look at this ID Thrive number 46. He does 366 patient visits in a month. New patients, 106. He's doing something, isn't he? He re-engaged 60 patients through the Thrive patients, and his regular office visit or patient visits was 200. He did $865,000 in 2014. His goal is well over $1 million this year by using the Thrive system. Now, how can a guy up here in the top see 516 visits in a month and only make 100,000, and the guy down below sees 366 patient visits a month and makes 865,000? It's called the system. It's systems driven. He has a place and everything in his place and a place for everything. And that's what Thrive will do for you. Okay, next doctor, 364 visits there. He did 274,000. I think we get the idea. Here's a guy down below, did only 102 patient visits in a month. He still did 300,000. So again, one did 37 patient visits, 96,000. Brand new doc out. This guy can do the $865,000 in 1 year if he follows it. Dr. Lindsay DC, age 68, my exact age, said, listen, I've looked at this Thrive system and I get where I screwed up my whole practice life. He said, I'd be making over $27,000 a month residually if only 5% of my patients still bought after they left my practice. So he saw the patients, he got a good job with them. When they dropped out of active care, though, they quit buying from him. So here's what we have shown that by punching this out in statistics. Here's the doctor on the top. Let's say this is 1 year averages. So here's the doctor on top, and he was the doctor you saw a minute ago that did only 100,000 a year but saw a ton of patients. By punching the statistics that come out of the Thrive system, he finds out that in a year he sees so many patients. At the end of that year, 585 patients do not come back to him. He's lost them as active patients. Now, if he had educated those patients, what we're going to show you now, how to put them on auto ship, and we send them the basic nutrients, he literally could make $150 per 585 patients. He literally could be making $87,750 per month on the patients that are dropping out of care. Forget the ones that are still in care. He's going to make $1 million off of them just putting them all on nutrition. But literally $1,053,000 he left sitting on the table because he didn't educate the patients to buy after they left. Now, I did a better job than that. When I dropped out of practice and lectured full-time, Brett took that over. And I had a huge amount of patients buying every month because I'd educate them to do that. No matter where they went, they bought. But I didn't have a system this slick that we're going to show you. So let's just look at another person here. Doctor number 2 here said 292 patients skipped out there. I just show one more here, Clark. And again, even at just 292 patients to the 585, he still is losing $43,000 a month. He's losing $500,000 a year. I think you get the idea. But what if you only were able to get 5% of your patients to follow through with residual nutritional recommendations after you left? And you can do a lot better than that. You could be making an extra $52,000 in a year. But that's puny. We can do a whole lot better than that. But an extra 50 grand, you mind doing that for doing nothing other than educating the patient with a system that educates them for you? All right, let's go on. Reporting is very, very important. You must receive the reports of everything that's happening in your office. You must be educating the patient and then getting feedback on what they're thinking. We showed you how we're doing that already, and take them to the next level of education. So here's a really cool thing. When performance is measured, performance improves. When performance is measured and reported, the rate of improvement accelerates. So in other words, you need to be keeping stats, and you need to be knowing and managing by statistics. Now, we have different things. The active emails, you see, they go out to every patient. Inactive emails are going out to inactive patients. New prospect emails are going out between the time they make the appointment when they come in. Look at the open rate there. When that new patient that is going to come in gets that email, 72.88% opens that up. That's pretty dang good. And that means they want to know what you have to tell them. It helps to make sure they get into that office. We're going to show you some other stats that aren't as good when people aren't monitoring this. And appointment reminders are real good too. When report reminders come in, look at the bottom in there. So out of 371 appointment reminders sent out, very bottom number, 293 were opened up. But when you look over here, how many times they were opened up? These people opened them up about 3 different times. 954, so 257% was opened up. So the emails, these appointment reminders are really important. So if I make an appointment with Dr. Brett, which I can hardly get in to see him, I mean, come on, your dad should have some kind of a rate in there. Sometimes he's so busy I can't see him. I see his associate, but I get a ding on my phone the day before. It says, hey, dummy, don't forget your appointment. It's at 2 o'clock. And I really like that. It's a great system. And in my office in the olden days, I actually had the patients call where I had a physical person calling the physical person to get them in. But this is another slick way. I think I would do both, but this is great. So let's look here. This is a sad statistic here. I want you to look at this. This is a good doctor. I know this doctor is just joined up with Thrive this last year. And so this doctor in this particular month had 44 new patients. When they called in, though, and made the appointment, 11 of the 44 didn't show up. 25% did not show up. Then, when they came in, the other 33 that came in and had the initial visit, and then they scheduled to come back in, another 12 didn't show up, or 27.27% were no-shows on that second visit. Gang, this particular office, which is an incredible office, an incredible doctor, out of 44 people that called to come in to be a new patient, only 21 showed up and followed the recommendations the doctor did. That's 47.73%. I don't know what a dirty word is in this case, but I guess it sucks. That isn't good at all. So the nice thing about keeping the statistics, these doctors, we show you a bunch of them, they thought they were blowing out of the park. They thought 70, 90% of these patients were coming in and following through. But they're so busy doing such a good job, they're leaking half their patients and don't even know it. Is that amazing? But with statistics, we can pinpoint it. Now, if I looked at one statistic here, this is the top, and 44 patients called to come in to be a new patient, and 11 of them didn't show, I'm going to look to my front office. And what I have found in coaching offices through the years and managing up to 4 offices at a time, I had 4 offices at one time. That's like taking temporary insanity and putting it into permanent. But what I found is the front office was trying to pre-qualify those patients so much, they panic and never even come in. I tell the front office, you know what your job is when somebody calls on the phone? Is to get them in that office for an appointment. He said, yeah, but that was just an advertising agency wanting to know if we wanted them to do a website. I said, do they have a spine? Get them in. Get them to do a free consultation. But if we would do that, we'd have 43.5% coming in, or out of 43.5 people out of 44. All right, Clark, let's go to the next page here. Now, here's another really, really important thing. This particular office had 32 new patients this month, and the staff was able to get 30 that had active emails that worked on there. Before we made them aware of that statistic, there was only about half of them that they were about 50%. Now, emails are critical. I mean, it's great that you and I can talk, and we don't have to get a long-distance phone, take a long time. Every month I send you every week I send you a puzzle piece. Every week Doug sends you out an edge email. Same way with the patients. Get those emails. It's very important. I'll tell you a little bit one way we do that towards the end here right now. Now, these statistics are so good. We do not have time to go over all this. Next week we can spend a little bit more time. But in this particular office, this doctor has multiple people working there, and you can see them. They have acupuncture, ASA, brief visits, PI visits, decompression, all that stuff. They list how many patients that day they saw. They saw 114 patient visits. Pretty dang good. They did one acupuncture visit. They did 13 ASAs. They did 15 decompressions. And you know what? These doctors get this on their phone every day. Boom, it pops up at the end of the day. They know exactly what they've done and where they need to work for the following day. It's an incredible way to keep up. Great, Chuck. Let's switch pages here. Now, here's interesting. We're going to call it Dr. A, Dr. B here. And this kind of goes back to what I was referring to a minute ago. This Dr. A knew 80, and he thought this was low. If he got 40 new patients, he knew at least 80% of them were coming in and following with care. This Dr. B, he thought he had 70%. When we did the Thrive statistics on these doctors, Dr. A had only 32% of those patients coming in, being new patients, getting reported findings, and following through with care. Dr. B was a little bit better, but that's still bad. Only 54% came through and followed up with care. You know why? They didn't educate their patients. You know why? They didn't have the stats to look at to know what they didn't know. If you don't know what you don't know, you can't fix it. We know now, and we can go ahead and fix it. All right, next page. Now let's go again to some of the things that we do with the system that increases and doubles your income with nutrition and your new patient activation, new patients and educating. Number one is that 24 hours before the appointment time, boom, get EduMail is sent to them, pops up on their computer or their cell phone is a really good way to do it. Now you could do it two different ways. You could have the patient texted the day before, and usually with EduMail we tell them the day before, but then an hour before the appointment, depending on how far away your patients come from, an hour or 2 hours, you set the parameters, but instantly they're reminded of that appointment. That's really good. No-shows have dramatically reduced since implementing the Thrive system. Keith Lavender gave a chance to said, we don't mind you putting our name up there. Just by doing this process, we educate our patients. They don't want to miss, and we know what we're watching for. So this is the process a little bit. What is the process that we do? Educate at every single step. So sign up today, right? So when the patient comes in, we want to educate them to come in and be a patient. What we're trying to get you to do right now is take an action step. I want you to sign up in the next 24 hours because we beat Clark up, and it's only, what, $259, something like that. We're going to take $100 off if you sign up and start implementing this. The only way this won't work is if you're lazy and you don't work it. But you say, well, I'll sign up, but what if I don't use it? Well, you can drop it anytime. There's no long-term contract. But may I say that if you don't use it, we need to send you a Special Olympics. Why would you not double your income in nutrition and new patients and reactivate patients? Please, let's use it. Let's implement the protocols we have. Another thing that we're finding are very good, Brimhall Chiropractic, Brimhall Seminars also has flyers, office posters, so does OHS to start educating your patients. Doctor-to-patient appointments, this EduMails. Please implement that along with the Thrive system. Your office staff to patient is very important. Do constant EduMails, and also will educate your patients and your staff at the same time. So there's an example of one of the posters available here, Daily Nutrient Essentials. So that's what you can have there in your office to educate patients. So the automated patient education system literally creates retention. It literally is reactivation. It literally takes you from wherever you are and doubles what you're doing on the green line, on the income line. And it's $249, the Thrive system. I said, Clark, give our doctors a break. So there's no contracts, month to month, like I just stated, 30-day money-back guarantee, and we're going to knock $100 off if you sign in the next 24 hours. So Clark has your emails. He has your information. He's going to go ahead and email out to you two important things. One is how to sign up for Thrive. And if for some of you are not signed up with OHS yet, the Optimal Health Systems Nutrition, that also will be included in the email, and you can get that done. So there's an email. There's Clark's phone number if you want to jot that down. But he will send this to you in email and show you how effective it is in communication. There is another system that we're going to go over next week. It's called the Optimal system. And 3 of those offices on top that all gold themselves from 50,000, 100,000, or 300,000 to go all the way to $1 million in 1 year. So Clark has a special system for those where there's much more monitoring and goaling and setting and educating. He'll talk about that next week. Remember, same time, same station, whatever time it started this week on Tuesday, next week on Tuesday we'll do the same thing. So promo code when you write in is called seminar. All right, Clark, let's go to the next page there.
That's all we got, Dr. John.
That's all we got there. Okay, good. So we pretty well stayed within the parameter that we said we would. I know it's very hard for me to do that, but we actually have a couple of minutes even to maybe answer some of the questions you might have. The thing that I noticed with the people that look at Thrive, they think, well, what if I don't implement it? How do I implement it? And the point is, there's nothing to implement other than follow what already works, what already happens. When you sign up, Clark will educate you and show you how to use this. We get the patient's emails, and they're fired out to them automatically. So it's an incredible, easy thing to do. There's really nothing to worry about. Clark, would you add anything to that?
Thank you, Dr. John. Great. As you sign up at mythrive.com, you'll schedule your appointment with one of our onboarding specialists. That'll lock you into the pricing, and then you'll receive an email almost immediately after that will have the registration to go through the registration process, and our team will be on the phone with you to help you through the process and get you up and going. And as we said earlier, there's a 30-day money-back guarantee. You don't have anything to lose here, but so much to gain as you implement this system and really make it happen.
Clark, while I'm talking here, is there any way you can flip forward and find that slide that shows how we show the patient how to sign up and order on their own? If we can find that, if not, I'll just kind of talk them through it. This is a new concept to me, and I didn't know if I liked it at first. And they're going to go over this with you in detail next week. But just think of this concept. I mean, I always had a huge inventory of nutrition in my practice. I made enough money on it. I could have it there. I like it available. But what we're learning is some patients do better if they go ahead and sign up and get the products sent directly to them. Now, the interesting thing about Optimal Health Systems is different from other companies I've seen. There's other companies out there who will auto ship to your patients for you, but they subtract 10 to 20% of what it would be. OHS isn't like that. So let's say that a bottle of nutrition, let's take OptiThyroid, for instance. Let's say if that nutrition sells for $30, your cost is $15. But you sign the patient up to be able to order it direct so they don't run out. They can go ahead and order OptiThyroid to be sent directly to them, and you get a check for exactly your share, a full $15 at the end of the month. And so this is really good for a lot of different things. Another issue that I've always fought are custom packs. And Doug has become a real advocate of custom packs. So let's say, for instance, they come in, I do a scan on them, or I do a blood test on them through SBN Brimhall reporting system, and I get back a report that says they need enzymes, they need probiotics, they need adrenal support, OptiAdrenal, they need OptiThyroid. Well, that's 4 different things they need. You can recommend an OptiPack, and you know they also need some vitamin D, so we better put that in there as well. You know that they're just not getting enough essential fatty acids, so we better add that. That's 6 different nutrients they need every day. Doug will make you, through Optimal Health Systems, a pack that comes in a 1-month supply. All the patient does is tear open that cap, that little flake, and boom, all 6, 5, 6, 7, whatever you order of those nutrients are for that patient every day. Whether you want to take 1 a day, 2 a day, or 3 a day, those OptiPacks can be done. So think about that. This is something, there's options with this. You say, well, I really like to private label. No problem. What do you want to call OptiAdrenal? How about Super Adrenal? No problem. Whatever you want to do, OHS can do private labeling for you, so it's your products with your name given to your patients. And you can do it either with the package here, or you can do it by individual bottles. So there's just a lot of things that make this tailor-made for your office. But the interesting thing that we found, somewhere along the line, you want to sign the patients up to be able to order direct, because you get paid exactly the same amount. They never run out. You don't wind up just shipping out something to them if they're on vacation. They can call and order it and have it sent to them. Guess what else happens? They're getting such good results. Let's say their adrenals are so exhausted, their cortisol is too high. When cortisol is too high, it's going to make your thyroxine not convert your T4 to your T3. Can't get it done. So they need both adrenal and they need thyroid. So they start taking this along with the enzymes and probiotics. So you're making, $150 a month, whatever you're making, but the patient starts feeling so better, they call their cousin down the street or in another state, and they say, look, you can go online and order this. I'll just give you my doctor's number. Let's say your number is B for Brimhall 243. So that patient goes online, signs up with OHS with your number B243. Guess who makes the profit on that? You do. When the patient is no longer under active care, you educate them to use this system. They continue to, when I had a school teacher who came in, was depressed and everything else. We put her on adrenal. She just got so much better, just like her whole world had come back to her. Fibromyalgia went away, chronic fatigue went away. We put her on her whole program, but the adrenal was the real key for her. She was so shot. And she said, how long am I going to have to take this? I said, what age groups kids do you teach? She says 8 years old. I said, how long are you going to teach them? She said, another 40 years. I said, then you're going to be on adrenal for another 40 years, right? And so now all she has to do is use my number, B243, go to OHS, Opti Health Systems, order that in my name. They mail me a check for $15. She still got it at the same price, and we live happily ever after. Now, here's another interesting thing that Doug has dreamed up, and I think is beyond anything I've seen before. Let's say we've had active care for this patient, and I saw patients from all over the world. My statement was I saw people from countries I didn't even know where they were, and that was true. So when I do my active care, and my active care those days was $5,000. If they came in, I saw them every day for a month, that's $5,000. Or if I saw them 3 times a week for 30 days and twice a week for the next two months, that was $5,000. Plus they had to buy their nutrition on their own. But I did give those people in that type of program a discount. Well, that's what you give them on auto ship. When this patient would leave, let's say they were going back to Holland. I had 4 patients from Holland that came over. When they go back to Holland, all they have to have is Brimhall 243. They can at any time order. They have the credit card goes directly to OHS, and we give them a 20% discount, because once they leave us, they're not in active care. You're not there to constantly make sure you explain to them why the OH products are the best. Well, they're non-GMO, they're pre-digested, they're whole, organic, pre-methylated nutrition. But they forget that after a while. Maybe they go to GNC and say, I can get an adrenal a little bit cheaper, maybe I'll do that. But when you put them on auto ship and they continue to get their adrenal, their thyroid, their enzymes, their probiotic, their essential fatty acids, every month automatically you give them a 20% discount. You don't have to mail this to them. OHS mails it to them. But when they're on auto ship, after active care, they get a 20% discount as long as they stay on that. So now you get a check every month, and that's what we're talking about. If you just convince 5% of your patients, which you should be able to convince 50% of your patients to do this, you're building residual income for as long as these people stay on this nutrition. When I go into Dr. Brett's office, I still see the patients that I started in 1971. I see their families, I see their family's family, because they really caught the vision of the kind of health care, not disease care, that we offer. So to put patients on auto ship, even though you don't make the full 100%, you make 30% forever as long as you keep them on it. And I found the patients, once they finished this program of care, I gave them this 20% discount myself, even though I had to ship it to them. It was my expense to have to ship it to them. Now Doug does all that throughout the health system, and I still make my 30%. I don't have to even touch a product. So they're going to go over that a little bit more next week. I think you'll find that very exciting concept. And so let's recap here a little bit. When the patients come in, do all the physical workup, emotional workup that you do, everything like you normally do for the Brimhall protocol. Know if you're following the Brimhall protocol, you saw the comparison to that is like $10,000 in a few months period of time compared to non-Brimhall offices that don't know how to scan and screen people and put them on nutrition. But if you do the Thrive program, that $10,000 went to $20,000 in that same period of time, over double the amount of money that they were able to make. So sign up, do the Thrive system, get to a seminar. Let's educate your patients, educate you on what to do. We're doing a seminar next month in New York. We're doing a seminar next month in Nashville, Tennessee. I'm doing a certification course, Dr. Brett and I, in Phoenix, Arizona, in the middle of August. All this is on Brimhall.com. It's at the bottom of all the puzzle pieces. And even if you're not ready to become Brimhall certified, come and learn how to do the type of instrument adjusting we do, the fascia release we learned from Dr. Fulford, the acupuncture. I'm a certified acupuncturist. Brett's a certified acupuncturist. We show you how to do it with laser. If you're licensed, we can show you how to do it with needles. Imagine, I mean, I've been around so long, the only person I think I've never met was D.D. Palmer, the original D.D. Palmer and B.J. Palmer. Everybody else, I followed Goodhart around all the time I was in school. I followed D. Jardinette around all the time I was in school and after I got out of school. I trained right under Robert Fulford, cranial osteopath, that developed the percussion work. John Upledger, the cranial osteopath, I took the work from him. Jean-Pierre Burrell, visceral manipulation, I took that from him. Soft tissue work from Nimmo. I mean, the list goes on and on. Well, those guys aren't here anymore, but I'm here, and I really learned what they did. So I can show you 50 years of healthcare that if we have boiled down into what we call the 6 steps of wellness. And then also put on your calendar the last week in January, we're going to have the most incredible homecoming you've ever seen. We have new products coming online. We have a new medical physician that's joined us that has got pretty much a photographic memory. He's correlated everything, how you tie in insulin sensitivity to anti-aging and on and on. So it's going to be exciting the rest of this year and going into the rest of next year. So, hey, I stay pretty much right on time. We've used up our 45 minutes, so I'm going to stop right here. Remind you next week, same time, same station. We're going to take off from here and we're going to go forward. Good night. God bless you all. Give Clark a call. Let's get you guys rocking and rolling. Good night.